A&B Properties is Quincy's largest apartment rental company with hundreds of units available. They offer short-term and long-term rentals with 1 up to 4 bedroom apartments. A&B Properties meets the needs of its tenants with care, compassion, and a quality of service that exceeds expectations. A&B Properties also has a convenient tenant app for you to do your payments or make repair requests. Give them a call today. A&B Properties, 217-919-8080, Quincy.
All right. Well, Colby Kuhlmeier. Kuhlmeier spelled with a K.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. Very excited to have you.
Oh, thanks for inviting me. I have no idea. So.
Colby Kuhlmeier from Cooley's Import Specialist, right down the street here in the district. So
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, so we're at 6th and Main, and so you are at 9th and Main-ish.
We're at 9th and Main. Our address is
kinda-
831, but yeah, right off the main drag there.
So I mean, almost like kind of 3 blocks straight.
I
that
would
way.
say so. Yes, sir. Yep.
Straight east. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
I got to tell you, pretty happy to have you here. And you and I were talking in the green room,
Yes.
and so I got to tell you guys this. So, Colby, this guy here, I met you. I don't know how long ago I met you, but it was about 16 years ago. About.
I would say you're correct on that. Yes, sir. Yeah.
And kind of the reason why I know that, I mean, I did some kind of looking back in history and finding,
Yeah.
when did I meet Colby? And I remember, I think it was when the shop, which you guys are a very high level car mechanic institution. What's the best
Thank
way
you.
to describe Cooley's Import Specialist?
Um,
I mean, known colloquially as Cooley's, but what do you?
I look at it as like all around just a good, like, hey, you come in, you get what you pay for, and it's done right. For the most part, that's how I look at it. I don't look at it like, hey, you're going to come in and here's the bill and here's what's wrong. I want to sit down and explain and talk to you as far as that aspects. But as far as that would be the best way I could explain that question or answer. I shouldn't say explain it, but answer that question, to be fair.
Okay, so here's a list of some of the vehicles I've brought in
Okay.
to see you.
Yeah.
1949 Chevy pickup.
Yes, sir.
1987 Acura Legend. So you might not even remember some of these. Some of these are like maybe my parents' cars. I had that 2007 Honda Accord
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yep.
And in the green room, by the way, Colby doesn't always want to just talk about cars because that's what he does all day long. He wants a break.
Do you agree?
And I'm going to give you a break.
I was going to say, I would rather, I can talk cars all day long, don't get me wrong, but I'm excited to be here and talk about other things, I guess.
Yeah, so I'm gonna ask you a few questions about cars.
Oh, please do.
But, I mean,
Yes.
I have so many questions for you, and we're not going to get through all of them.
Okay.
And then at the end of this pod, I'm going to be like, bro, that's it. We're done. We both have to go to work. You'd be like, what?
Oh, man.
We just started.
Uh-oh, I smell a part 2 coming.
Yeah, we can do part 2s.
Yeah.
I've sent you Jeep Cherokees.
Yeah.
I've sent you Ford Explorers. I've sent you Ford Expeditions. I don't know if you've ever looked at our. By the way, we don't have all these cars still.
No, I was going to say.
I don't
yeah.
have 50.
I was going to say, where are you putting all the room and insurance and all that good stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the very first time I met you, I believe your father was he the sole owner 16 years ago when I met you?
He was, yes. He was the owner all the way up to about 3 years ago. So.
Okay. And so the cartoon-ish outline of it says Cooley's, and there's a cartoonish descriptor. Man, who is that person?
That is my father.
Okay. And he is a special guy.
It's a love-hate relationship. It seems like you either love to hate him or you hate to love him. So he's my father, and I'm very proud. When he retired, I got my dad back. Before that, he was always my boss. It's really hard to explain. And if you know him as a boss, he was this is how I'm going to do it. This is how, you either listen to me or I'm not going to do anything at all. Very hard-headed in a weird way is what my mom would say. I would agree.
Unbelievably blatantly honest.
Oh, he would be. Yeah, he'd just tell you how it
Direct.
is. Yes. Yep.
So, he's a D in terms of being direct. So
Yep.
I'm a direct.
Yes.
I'm a D.
Yep.
It doesn't stand for anything else but direct.
Yeah, I understand. I was going to say.
But I got to tell you, one of the biggest reasons why I think you guys are so popular is I think most people think, I mean, I know there's really good mechanics in town, and
we got yes.
there's a lot of good
Yeah,
mechanics.
there is. We're
in
very
the-
fortunate. Yep.
But one thing that I think would set you guys apart is you guys can work on, from my point of view, almost anything.
For the most part, yeah. I don't like working on helicopters or boats, but for the most part, yes, I do feel that. When I work on a car, I always tell everybody just to, and like you said, be upfront. If my heart's into it, I will work on it. If it's not, then I'll just tell you I'm not going to work on it. There's been a couple times in the past, like, hey, would you do some brake lines on a vehicle? And if I don't show no passion for it, why would I work on it? I do love what I do. I'm very fortunate I get to do it every day, but that doesn't mean that just because you have a car and I specialize into, I like more imports, that's what I really like. Doesn't mean that I'm going to touch that. Maybe for whatever reasons, if I got to buy a special tool, maybe I don't have the software, or possibly, you know what, I've just done 10 of them in a row. I don't want to do an 11. So.
Yeah, that's the thing that I really noticed when I first met you and your dad was the absolute honesty, because it helped that you guys always fixed everything all the time.
Try. Yeah, thank you.
No, you always fixed it.
Oh,
always
gotcha.
fixed it.
Thank you.
100%.
Oh, man.
So,
okay.
no, I mean 100%.
I got you.
As a matter of fact, there were times when you did fix any vehicle, and then you would say, by the way, here are all of the things that could happen later.
Yep.
Here's what we did. Here's what we could have done. This was not a good way. You actually would fix it in a more economical way because it was better for it, as opposed to the more expensive way, which maybe wasn't the right way to go. And things like, I don't know, just the brutal honesty. Cooley's is, from my perspective, and I've been around, because I'll never badmouth anybody, but you guys are definitely the best and the most honest in combination.
I take pride in that. Thank you.
That's like the number one, the biggest compliment I could give.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I brought something here for you.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
This is a Venn diagram of the worst cars ever.
All right. Okay.
So the Venn diagram here is safety, quality, handling, whether or not it's underpowered.
Okay.
There's a part here that says hideous.
Yes.
And there's the oh goodness, we're gonna offend some people here. The Kia Amante is in there. The Chevy SSR, the Toyota Prius is hideous. What in the world? Do you see this?
I do see that. I was going to say, I mean, maybe I need to take my glasses off on some of them, because I'm giggling laughing. There's a few of them that I think are beautiful, or I have owned, and I thought they were nice, but
We can really get into some trouble here.
I think so, like crap quality, DeLorean. As far as drivability, I would say you're probably right, but it's got good looks. So, I mean, you get both of everything on that aspect.
I would take a DeLorean.
Right. I was going to
And
say.
okay, so right in the middle here.
So I did a Route 66 trip back in 17 or 18.
Let's tell everybody what we're looking at here.
Oh, Yugo.
A 1986 Yugo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me the story.
Oh, man. Anyways, it was called Lemon Rally. Make long story short, the crappier the car, the more that you didn't think it was going to make it, the more points you got when you got there. And to make long story short, there was a guy from Matt that brought his. Now, we're talking driving this car from, of course, Chicago all the way to California. And I think it quit down in somewhere in St. Louis, and that was the farthest it made it, and he rented a U-Haul and took it the rest of the way. But he tried it in a couple other areas, took the hood off and all that. But for the most part, it did a lot better than there was a older Saab there. But
yeah, this is when I did this internet search of the worst car ever. Now, I also did an internet search for the best car ever.
Oh.
And there's no agreement.
Gotcha.
There's no agreement. So do you guys work on Porsches?
Sure do. Yes.
Ever had a Ferrari in the
Uh,
shop?
I never had like a Ferrari. I've had a drivetrain that was in another car. As far as that aspect, yes. Like a Maserati, certain years would run a Ferrari engine, but to straight up and have just a Ferrari like 308 or something along them lines, no.
So, I mean, do you guys? So it's Quincy. So if we had to move Cooley's to the suburbs of Chicago, I think you'd get more.
I would get more, yes. It would be more diverse in as far as that. Majority of it is a lot of your Europeans, and then of course you got your Asians as far as that goes. But usually, and what I really like about when you get into the higher end of the European, them people are really into that car. Mm-hmm. They know what they want. They say, hey, you know, my car's making a funny noise. I'm on the forums. Goodness gracious. They sit here and they're saying, hey, I think it's in the right front and I think it's a sway link. And then you go there and you're like, hey, there it is. Because a lot of times, at least I feel that when you go work on a car, whether it's a Porsche or BMW or any car, in for say, if you sit there and talk to the customer will tell you what the problem is. You just got to put it together. Like, hey, there's a clunk. Hey, when I step on the brakes, there's a vibration. Is it in the steering wheel? Is it in the seat of your pants? Do you feel it in the pedal? And the more you get to talking to them, the more they almost diagnose it, and then you get to take it the rest of the way.
Interesting. Yeah, I think there's been many times when I've taken vehicles into you. I'm like, oh man, it only makes this noise when I do this one thing.
Yes.
And then one time you joked, you go, well, don't do that.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to say, yeah. You know, I always get, if it's making a noise, just turn the radio up. You know what I mean? Yeah, no big deal. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I was talking to a good friend of mine, and I just recently purchased a Ford.
Yeah.
And I had never owned a Ford personally before. And obviously my Chevy truck is a Chevy, and I've had some other vehicles, had some, you know, like Honda, obviously Japanese, but bought a Ford. And he was telling me, he's like, you know, I just don't really like Fords very much. And I go, well, do you like the luxury? You like luxury Fords? He's like, nah, really. Like, I'm totally against Ford. I go, why do you drive a Lincoln?
Yeah.
He goes, what are you talking about? I go, Lincoln is Ford.
Yeah.
He goes, what?
Yeah.
He goes, all right. So he grabs his phone.
Yeah.
He starts furiously. He goes, wait, I think you're right. I go,
shoot.
I'm like, no, dude. I'm pretty right about that. And
Yeah.
then we started going down this rabbit hole. He was so embarrassed. But I'm like, no, it's okay. Like, you don't even know what you're driving.
Yeah.
Just like most people don't really know what they're driving.
No, they really don't, to be fair to you. You know, they go off of looks, or a lot of times, hey, you know, a good friend of mine's had this car and had really good luck, you know, with this name brand as far as that, yeah. I would agree with that, yeah.
Well,
there's a lot of manufacturers that are manufacture other different lines, so.
What's interesting, too, is like, so car companies that have, and I'm 47. I think I was like 42 when I learned this, when I fully became cognizant that there are certain like car companies
Yes.
that have luxury lines. Like, for example, I think I was 42 years old when I figured out that Toyota had a luxury line called Lexus.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, well, Lexus is a Toyota.
Yes, it is.
And, you know, Acura is a Honda.
Yeah.
And you could do this all day long.
Yeah.
So what is Infinity? Is that
Nissan.
It's Nissan.
Yeah.
Okay, we could do this over and over again.
For sure, yeah.
But it's just kind of people don't know what they're driving. When something's broken, you
Yep.
know that old 49 Chevy pickup that
Yeah.
I have, if it's not run well, I can kind of look at it cross-eyed or, like, you know, give it a stern look, it'll start working again.
Yeah.
But all of my other vehicles that I've ever had since then have computers in them.
Yeah.
And then you have to get out your computer.
For the most part,
To
talk to it. I was going to say, it still goes back to the basics. You know, when you talk about your older truck and you're saying, hey, you know, it's not island right. Is it fuel, fire, mechanical? The car then today is still you still have to go back fuel, fire, mechanical. The scanner will get you close, like, hey, cylinder one, but it won't tell you, is it a spark plug? Is it a compression issue? Is it an
Right.
injector? Something like
Right.
that. So, but, you know, when people say, hey, I'm glad or they don't make them like they used to. I'm glad they don't, because I love air conditioning, heated seats, and I love steering wheels, you know, heated steering wheels. I love it when my phone connects to my radio. I mean, I don't want to go, yes, we own some older stuff, I do, and don't get me wrong, I giggle and laugh when I get in and drive it, but if you're saying let's go to St. Louis, I'm riding with you in the Ford.
So
you know?
I went to St. Louis in the Ford.
Yes.
And I've got this small problem. I guess I can read the owner's manual, but with regard to the right gasoline to put in my vehicle, I've got some trust issues, Colby.
Gotcha.
Okay, so the newer vehicles
Yep.
that are running these different gasolines that maybe have a lot of corn in them,
Yes.
I'm guessing.
Yep. Ethanol, which would be an alcohol base, which would also be water. So, because what's alcohol? What alcohol percentages is what? I'm not a science.
I don't even know.
I'm not a chemistry, but I got you.
Yeah.
If you look back, corn's what? It's water, and I forgot the percentages. I mean, look it up, guys. Yeah.
Look up ethanol.
Yeah, look it up, and you'll get to see it. So, but yes. So
whenever, so if I'm driving my Ford, and some places, I don't know if all the places in the tri-state area have all the different kinds of gasolines at every gas station. Some don't. I mean,
Nope.
there's some gasoline stations in the area where you got 87 octane. That's all they offer.
Yes.
And
Yep.
then they've got the 87, 89. Maybe Shell will offer 93.
Yep.
Can
91.
And 91.
Yep, and
Can
then
I
there's
pu-
E85 too, but that's a whole something
Okay,
else.
E85.
But, yep, we don't
So-
hardly see that here in town.
Right. So when I'm trying to put in E85 around here, I can't always do that. But when I was going to St. Louis for my kids' soccer game, ran into a gas station that offered the E85 in a separate pump on
Yep.
the other side of the kiosk.
Yep.
I guess for lack of a better word.
Yep.
And I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at my gasoline tank, and it says it accepts it.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, can I do that? Should I do that? I go in the owner's manual. Meanwhile, wife and kids are like, what's wrong? Is something broken? I go, I'm just checking something. My wife goes, so, like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm just trying to figure out if I should put this gasoline in. She's like, well, we got to go. So I don't have the confidence to put in the corn water.
You can, as long as your car is capable. Yes, you'll get a little bit less fuel economy as far as that, because it does detune the engine on the factory style. What it basically does is it reads the alcohol content in your fuel tank. There's a sensor in there, and it will read that, and that's how it will determine. So we'll put a different map in it automatically for you.
So can I put in the 93?
You can do that, yeah.
But what's the 93 for?
93 is a higher octane, so it's like a lot of times your cars that will have a twin turbo or supercharger, they want to have a higher octane. So
Okay.
basically burns faster, just all around better fuel. So it
Why
doesn't
does-
carbon up.
Why does my Ford? So I have full disclosure. I bought a Ford Expedition
Yeah.
because I've got 3 kids. And
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you need
my
both
wife and
room.
I have 3 kids. I always get corrected in the comment section. They're like, you mean your wife and you have 3 kids? What about your wife? Yeah. So this thing has a turbo.
Yes,
It has a turbo.
yes.
My wife's Ford Explorer doesn't have a turbo.
No.
And so hers is a 14.
Yes,
Mine's a 21.
yes.
And my huge tank, my huge Expedition, this massive beast of a car, which
Yep.
it's so big.
Yes, it
It's
is.
so big. So driving the kids around, it gets way better gas mileage than my wife's 14.
Yep.
It's got a turbo.
It does got
It's
a turbo.
faster?
Yes.
Oh, this is a breathtaking situation.
Oh, it is. You got a different transmission with a lot more gears. It's amazing what they pack a smaller engine into it because it's turbocharged. Now we can make more horsepower, but we get the fuel economy that we need to be at.
So if I put you on the spot and give me a kindergarten answer,
Okay.
which I know you can make it all complicated.
Oh, I don't know about that.
No, I'm sure you could go way over my head here, but don't do that because I can't handle it.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
Can you give me the super layman's reason definition of like what a turbo is or why they would put a turbo in a Ford Expedition?
Oh, I can make it real quick. It gives you boost. So to make the long story short is you want to have more power. What we're going to do is we're going to feed you more oxygen. So if you were running and you was running out of power, I'm going to put an oxygen mask on you. You're going to get fed more oxygen. You're going to get running. So when you look on your boost gauge and you'll get to see it, it might go to 12. That means I'm putting 12 psi in that intake and I'm making it happen. It takes the exhaust pressure, moves the turbine, and goes.
Okay.
Turbo.
So I can definitely, the thing like winds up and goes,
Wing, yeah, need to hear. Whoosh. Yes,
Yeah, there's
that's
like-
the waste gauge if you
yeah.
have too much boost. Yes.
Anyway, I love that thing. I got a couple more car questions before I kind of talk to you about we're going to go into your personal life
Okay.
just a little bit.
All right.
So when people they've been dropping off their vehicles to you and you've been talking to all of these people.
Yes.
Anybody so you give me a lot of time
For
whenever
sure.
I come in.
Yes.
And I'm really appreciative of your time.
Oh, well, thank you.
But now we're going to, eventually here, we're going to move into like some other things, your likes and dislikes and what you
Okay.
do when you're not working on cars, okay?
Okay.
But a couple things. How fast can I go in reverse?
Oh, I don't know. That would be. I don't know. That's a good question.
Okay, all
You
right.
should be able to go until you hit the rev limiter. To be fair to you.
Yeah,
So.
I finally stumped you after 16 years.
Well, I can't
first
say
time.
that. I would say that it all depends on the vehicle and what we're doing here with it. But I don't know. I've never seen anybody go that fast, I should say, or even tried it.
When you say, yeah, it's a total BS question. I'm like totally putting on that. Like, how is 27 miles an hour? I mean, there's no way.
There's no way. I mean, you could be 50. It all depends on where your RPM range is. If you floored it, then I'm sure you could do 100 easily if you wanted to.
Oh, you're kidding me.
When I say easy, it'd probably be everything out. So you know how you tack out in first gear? Like we're going to hold it in first?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can, however fast, theoretically, you can go in first gear, you can put her in reverse and go that fast.
It's not going to change gears.
It's not going to change gears. No, reverse is only one gear.
Okay.
Yep.
So you said something about RPMs.
RPMs,
and I noticed that. So I like, I've always, you know me, that I've driven a stick
yes,
my
sir.
whole entire life.
Yeah.
And I just abandoned a manual transmission for
Right?
this Ford Expedition.
I know.
Which, by the way, if Ford offered a manual,
Yeah.
do you think I would have taken it?
I know for a fact he would have took it.
100.
Yeah. How cool would it have been to have that in there?
Oh, yeah.
It would be
The
a
turbo?
unicorn. Yes.
So the RPM gauges. So assuming that like a lot of people are not really paying attention to what they drive.
Okay.
They don't really know what they're driving. Like my friend who drives a Lincoln, it was like bashing Ford.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, that
Yep.
wasn't smart of him. But he's normally really smart. He's an engineer, but he didn't know that. But engineers, come on.
Oh, well, yeah, they're their own smart.
They're-
They're book smart, and then that's a whole other thing.
They're
yes.
selectively smart.
Yeah, they are. Gosh, yes.
But so the RPM gauge, why are they still putting those in vehicles for people? Why do you need an RPM gauge if you're not driving a manual? What is the purpose of this? I've got one on my Expedition.
I was gonna say, that I never sit there and thought about that. The only thing I could think off the top of my head is the test of time, and hasn't always been like that. But for the longest period of time, they've always had attack.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
attack.
yeah.
I mean, you've got your speedometer.
Yep.
You've got certain gauges, and I don't think people look at oil pressure.
No, they got a light for that.
They don't care about that.
No.
They're looking at engine temp. I don't
Yes.
think people care about that either.
No, they got a light for it too.
What do you think about this theory that when you start up a car, when the RPMs are kind of hovering like between 1 and 2, and
Yep.
the automatic choke is on?
Yep.
Can you immediately drive that vehicle, or is it smart to wait for the automatic choke to come off and the RPMs come down for a second? Is there any benefit?
Are we going to talk like a brand new car, or are we going to talk something older?
Brand new car.
Brand new car, I'll start it and put her in gear and go on.
Really?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I know
Yep.
the answer about old cars.
I got you. I was going to say, now, if we're talking like it's negative 30 degrees outside, please let it warm up just a little bit.
Just a little.
Yeah, because that oil's cold. It's just like blood. You don't want to move. The car don't want to move either.
Those Babarats gonna snap.
Yes, good to see you.
Nobody
You'll
knows.
make some weird noises, but that's what keeps us in business.
So if I never changed my oil again.
Oh, please don't.
Never, never, never. So you guys are really good.
Yeah.
Go in there. You guys give me the sticker. You reset my oil life meter.
Yep.
I'm looking at it, so I like looking at that meter.
Oh, yes.
Right now I'm at 9%.
Yep.
So I need to call you.
For sure.
As a matter of fact, I might follow you back to the shop.
Don't do that. We're here to talk about radio, man.
Yeah.
So I feel,
But,
no.
Okay,
yeah.
so I could do this all day long.
Okay.
With you about cars.
Yeah.
But so do you mind getting a little like personal? About,
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay.
We're not going to get too crazy.
Well, I was going to say, no. I don't know how personal, but I.
Oh, it's going to be really personal.
Okay.
So,
all right.
So here's your first one. Ready?
All right.
So buckle yourself in. What do you do when you're not working on cars? Do you go home?
I do go home.
You do?
I'm a homebody.
And what do you do?
Work on cars.
Are you kidding me?
Nope. So, yeah, I do. I like to work on my own stuff. So.
What are you working on now?
Oh, man. I'll pick, I should say. Right now is a 46 Fleetliner. So we're trying to get it wrapped up. It's on air ride. And anyways, it's going to come out maybe in about 2 or 3 weeks. So excited for that.
What does that mean? It's going to come out.
I get to drive it. So I've been slacking a little bit. We put all new bags. I put all new airline in it, had to rewire the car, and I bought it as a project. So usually, like every winter, I try to buy something. Oh, goodness gracious. Work on it. Keeps my mind off of other things of life. So, yeah.
Awful work?
Yeah, awful work. It does.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, I don't have nobody hounding me. You don't have no phone calls. I'm not looking over my shoulder. I want to talk to every customer that comes in because when we talked earlier, we have a lot of great mechanics that are here in Quincy. What sets me apart, anybody can work on a car is how I feel. When I say that, like if you're in my profession. And a lot of shops that are here in town have been in business 20 some odd years. So, I mean, they're doing it great, just like ourselves. What am I doing different than they are? The only thing is I like to talk to my customers and make them explain, but when I go home, I don't have to sit there and think about that. If I want to sit down and oh my goodness gracious, here comes Frankie, and I see the YouTube, it's out, and I can sit down and open up a Pepsi and sit there and watch it and just have fun. So
when you say a Freightliner, did you say a Freightliner?
Fleetliner.
What is that?
It's a 4-door car. It's an old long car, Chevy.
What year?
46.
46.
Yes.
So, what are you going to do when you're done?
That's a good question. I don't know. I usually sell them and lose money on it. So
You don't
yeah,
lose
yes,
money.
I do. Yes, I
do?
do. Oh, I do. Yeah, but you can't look at it when I look at it as far as that goes. I look at all the fun that I had. It kept me busy for the winter. I got to enjoy it maybe 3 or 4 times, or maybe I kept it. My truck, I've kept it the longest, but I'll drive it, go get ice cream, listen to my wife complain because I make her drive it and she hates it, whatever it is. Love you. And make a long story short, usually when I try to sell it, I never want selling a car, to be fair to you.
Really?
So, yeah.
It's like when I go to poker night and I'm going to spend $20.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna lose.
Yes.
But I'm with my friends for 3 hours.
Right,
It's
yes.
Like I just paid for my entertainment.
You just paid for the entertainment.
I'm going to
Yes.
spend $20 somewhere.
Yes. Yep.
So, but I mean, with the advent of general inflation
Yep.
and the fact that kind of like in the past 3 or 4 years, there's been this strange inflationary or capital appreciation of general vehicles in general.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
So when you're buying these old cars, you're buying them to work on them because you see a project in it.
I do. I try to take it to the next level. A lot of times a person might have said, hey, they welded the frame, already did all the hard work. Now I got to come in and just wire and plumb it. I can do that. Or, hey, I bought a car that it's already been painted and sandblocked. All it needs is an engine and transmission. I can do that. I can't paint. It's not my deal. And I don't weld. I'd never went to schooling to weld, and I don't weld. So you pay somebody to do that. So if you've seen my welds and you trust it on the street, you're dangerous than I am. So
You mentioned your wife may not like to drive them.
she hates them. No.
But does she hate them? Does she hate that you're working on them?
No, she hates them because the seats never move, the steering wheel don't move, and then they never did. And I'm not going to put it is what it is. It's 1946, and that's how we're going to drive it.
When was the last time she drove one of your projects?
Well, she daily drives. When I say daily drives, 1970 C10 that I drive around. She likes driving that one. So
No complaints?
no complaints.
The
So-
C10, what is that?
It's a green old 1970 truck.
Okay. I
So-
don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, had it for 3 years. If you probably, yeah.
So, oh, wait, I have. Maybe,
Yeah.
Maybe I have seen it, and
Yep.
I'm just like, and then it means nothing. 'cause
It
it's-
means,
it's
yeah.
just sitting on the side of the road.
I like to pick a car I don't have to wash because I ain't into washing cars. And then you got to keep up on it. You got to clean the tires and all that. No.
So, is there anything else? So, I know that you and I both have a lot of interests. So, you and I are real careful. You and I have opinions about everything.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
And then, so this is on the record, a lot of off the record stuff. We like to bounce ideas
Yeah,
back
for
and forth,
sure.
and it's pretty
Yes.
fun.
Yes.
Which I can tell you, I think you're one of Muddy River News's generally biggest fans because I know that you listen to a lot of Muddy River podcasts.
I do. Oh, heck yes.
I'll come in your shop. You're like, oh, I saw this
I've
one.
seen
I saw
it.
that
Yes.
One.
Well, it's interesting. It's talking about local, and you guys, in my eyes, if I'm going to take the time out of my life to enjoy what you guys are doing, that's what I'm going to do. I mean, life is very precious. I could watch another one, and maybe I have, and I don't like it. I always come back. It's nice because the characters that are on here and talking about it, not everybody gets to know some history of Quincy, and it's just amazing the community we live in.
Yeah, well, I mean,
So-
when you walked in here, you got to kind of see how the sausage was made. When David Adam was like, oh, this topic?
Yes.
I'm going to freak out on this topic.
Yes.
And then he stayed for like 10 minutes, and we talked to him.
He did, yes, and
So
I
you got
thought
to
it
see
was
that.
yeah, it's very interesting, and he was happy to talk about it. And it's neat when you see somebody when they talk and they have a smile on their face. That tells you that they're interested. When you see them that they're, at least in my eyes, when you see that frown, you've already made them mad and don't say nothing else. Shut up. So that's how I always look at it. So
So, wife, any other family members?
So
out
yeah,
there?
I have a son who's 20. He's my stepson, but he's been my son. And then I have a daughter who's 13. So
Really? 20 and
yeah,
13?
20 and 13.
They give you any problems?
No, just kids. No.
It's funny.
No.
I gotta tell you. So whenever I ask that question,
Yeah.
it's like that's another unfair question. It's like, how fast can you go in reverse?
Yeah, that's
I
right.
don't know. Are your kids paying the asses too?
Have you ever noticed, like, when you start talking about somebody about their kids, they never say, like, hey, they might have got arrested 3 times prior to that, but they're always good kids, right? And sometimes you got to come to reality and just say, you know what? My son's just a no good, or my daughter's just a no good POS. You know, I'm not saying that forever, but, you know, sometimes you got to vent and just say, what the heck? You know, you didn't fail as a parent, at least in my eyes, or they didn't. It's just they got to make their own decisions, and hopefully you can stand there behind them. Now, I wouldn't go out there and hold the sign and tell everybody. So
I gotta tell you the story. So you mentioned a stepson. I technically have a stepdad, but I don't look at him as. I mean, he's not a stepdad.
Yeah.
Like he is on, like, not even on paper. Just like people would use that terminology, and I always correct them and say no. So I got very lucky.
Gotcha.
But I gotta tell you this story. So and one of the reasons why he's my father here on earth. Which is the most important thing in the world, right?
Yes.
But I got to tell you the story. So he was going to marry my mother, and this is a true story. And it's getting very close to the wedding, and he's golfing with an older gentleman who's in his deep 80s.
Okay.
And the guy's talking to my dad, and he's like, they're golfing, and the older gentleman's trying to. I mean, this is a very long time ago. This is in 1988 or 1989.
All right.
So this gentleman's long gone. So,
okay.
And he said, "So Walt, I hear you're getting married. Congratulations." And does like what's going on? And so Walt says, "Yeah, my fiance, soon to be wife in a couple months or whatever. She's amazing. I love her so much. We got 3 great kids." And he goes, Wait, what? 3 kids?" He goes, "Let me tell you something. Do you know what you're getting yourself into here? Do you know this is go bad for you?" And he goes, "I'm going to give you some advice. Can I give you some advice?" And Walt goes, "Yeah." He goes, "So here's how it works. Since you haven't had any kids yet, okay? I've got 5 kids, and all my kids are successful. And I love my children. And they're fantastic. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I'm glad I did it. And I did the Lord's work. And I brought these kids up and I raised them. And I would never say anything bad about my children. But just so you know, when you got kids, you got shit."
All right.
And my dad loves telling us this story, like at Thanksgiving,
Right,
when
yes.
we're arguing.
Yes.
He goes, "All right, everybody gather around. I'm going to tell you about what," because now we have kids.
God, yes.
So, it doesn't matter if your kids in out of prison or they did something bad.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Like,
Yep.
your kids are your kids.
They're still, yes. Yep. You always want to succeed, and that's even if they go down a dark path. As long as you're there, one way or the other, open your arms and say you're there with them.
Do you think fatherhood is exciting, scary, frightening? What do you think it is?
When they were younger, with my son, when he was younger, it wasn't too bad, to be fair to you. And now as the life goes on and they get older, I get scared for him. And the reason I say that, or they, also with my daughter, there's, are you sure you want to rent? Are you sure you don't want to save that money and live at home for a little bit? Why are you going out to dinner and spending all your money? Don't you want to save it? When's your retirement? I mean, it goes by so quick. You're 20, next thing you know, you're 40, then you're 50, and then you're retired, and then you're living in wherever you're at, and then it's gone. So
you mentioned renting.
Yes.
So that's a difficult thing, 20-year-olds.
Yes.
So if your daughter's
Yeah.
listening, we're not coming down hard on anybody here. We're just having a conversation about renting and interest rates. That's what this is about.
That's where I'm trying to go with it.
That's
Yep.
what this is. This is just like conversation you'd have with anybody.
Yeah.
If she's listening, she's like, "I can't believe you brought out this. We just got finished talking." I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you in
just
trouble.
totally random.
But
Yep.
man, the renting thing, what is your general take on that? Because, 20-year-old person?
Yeah. He started around. He just moved into his rental about a month ago. So
Okay, so we're talking about your son.
we can. Yeah, it doesn't matter in general.
Which one
but
is
yes.
the person who's 20?
My son.
I'm sorry.
Yep. Nope.
I'm
You're
sorry.
okay.
I'm
Yep.
wrong. So the 20-year-old son. Okay. So.
Yep. But as they get older, when he says, "Hey, I'm moving out and I'm going to rent," and I'm sitting here thinking, like, why don't you stay at home for a little bit longer, save up that money, and then you can put a down payment on a house. Let's face it, with the way the market is, they're just not giving out money. You know.
Would you?
So,
Okay, so if you invite one of your kids to stay home,
yeah.
would you charge them rent? Like maybe it's $50, maybe it's
So after
$10,000 to get them out or whatever.
ooh, man, that's a tough question. I mean, if no, I don't think. Yes and no. To be fair to you, now if they got a job and then they're over 21 years of age and they're along saying, "Hey, we're saving up for something," if they have a goal and they're going to succeed that, then no, because that's your forever home. You know what I mean? You're always welcome where I'm at. If you're sitting at home playing video games and you ain't got nothing to do, I'm going to charge your rent because I want to sit at home. I don't play video games, but I want to sit at home and do broadcast on Muddy River News, but I can't. You know what I mean? So, yes. So, once again, who's wrong or who's right? So, yeah. What about yourself?
Well, you're the dad. You're the dad.
I was going to
So,
say, yeah.
You know, that doesn't. I mean,
How do you feel on the topic?
Okay, so rent. So interesting. So I'm kind of the mind. There's some things that I will not change.
Okay.
About parenthood. So, for example, the cell phone.
Yep.
I really don't think my kids are going to get a cell phone before high school. I really don't think so. Now, it's possible that I'm talking on my butt right now, and I'm going to break in 7th grade. In 4 years, she's going to get a cell phone.
For sure. Yep.
But I don't know. What I'm trying to do with my wife right now is write down some things, like some real good truths, and I'm going to call them subjective truths.
Okay.
So not objective truths, meaning like everybody agrees.
Yeah.
Like, for example, that's up, that's down.
Yeah.
That's like kind of more of an objective truth. Like this microphone, it's not purple.
Yeah.
It's not orange. Objectively, it's black.
Yeah.
But we're thinking about writing some of these things down and maybe carefully crafting a list of things and putting them on the wall and then fully indoctrinate them.
Yeah.
Put out the propaganda out there. So here are the ages that you get all of these things.
Right on. Okay.
So regarding with renting,
Yeah.
that's a tough one. It's on one hand, I think that the first 2 years, I mean, if I want to encourage a kid to pick up a trade,
Yep.
because I don't know, I've changed my tune about like forcing kids into college.
Oh, yes.
If they don't know what they want to do,
There you go.
and like they just want to go to Mizzou and be in a sorority,
Yeah.
okay, well that sounds bad.
Right. It does. Yes.
I mean, that sounded really good. That sounds really good for all those kids in the fraternities.
I was going to say,
It sounds really good for them.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
You
Yeah.
know, like my oldest is 9-year-old girl.
Yeah.
So I've got, 9, 7, 4. So girl, boy, girl. And when Alejandra is graduated from high school, if she says, "Dad, I've decided that I want to get a job and I want to go to community college for 2 years. And my goal is to get straight A's. And I want to transfer to a 4-year. And I think I'm going to use those next 2 years to really find out what I want to do, Dad. And, please let me know what I can do and teach me everything you got." Well, you know what? I might charge her $25 rent.
Fair enough.
$25, just
Okay.
so there's some skin in the game.
Well, you have to work for something. Yeah, I see where we're going
I
with
might
that.
ask
Okay.
her. I might ask her to pitch in $25 a week for food.
That's understandable.
Give your mother $25 towards the. Might ask her to put $25 to utilities. So maybe her all in. Maybe she's out $100 a month for all of these different things, so she can feel the weight of it, so she can see the bills,
So she can, yeah.
and say, "By the way,
Fair-
honey, our utility bill's $400.
Yeah.
So that's really high. Utilities.
my
My Emmer bill's $400.
I'm I don't 583. So
What?
Yeah. So for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe I should make sure that my daughter gets the bill,
Yeah.
and she's forking over 25. I'm like, all right, so we owe 400. You've got 25 in there. Okay, thank you very much. I guess I'll come up with the 375, and then she can be like, "What the heck
Yeah.
is going on here?" So I won't claim to have all these answers.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know that it does make sense because I mean, when you go out on your own, you still got to pay. So
I think paying zero today
Yeah.
in the 2020s, the 2030s, I mean, I don't want to go too far in the future.
Yep.
But there's something weird going on, I think, with the world. And so, I don't know. I mean, have you ever what happened with you? I mean, when you were 18, I mean, what was your general, like, without going into...
My parents gave me an open heart. They always, if I needed a spot to stay, they were always there. They were never really hounded me. I'm very blessed to have a good mom and dad. So when we sold our house, I guess, I don't... I just don't want to get in trouble here or say something. Now, they might tell you something different. If anybody gave any troubles at the house, it was probably me. So, no, they never said, hey, I'm sure now if I was still living at home, I'm sure we'd be having a talk. So, yeah. But although I would like to go back home, they didn't supply free internet. So, yeah.
So I went, when I came back to Quincy,
Yeah.
well, I was fired for my job when I was 17, working for my parents.
Gotcha.
They fired me.
That happens.
They fired me for good reason. I was coming in late.
Okay.
And they fired me. So anyway, I've said this a lot in the pod. So anyone listening, sorry for saying that over and again, but it does something.
Well, you learned a lesson, though.
I wasn't late for any other job.
Yeah. Yep.
The embarrassment of it was so high. And so when I came back to Quincy after living downtown Chicago for a very long time, living in the city,
Yeah.
any job I had, well, I wasn't late.
Nope.
If I was late, I would call them and say, hey, I missed a train. I'm going to be 7 minutes late because I'm on the next train now.
Gotcha.
And I'm coming through the hole. And so now I'm getting reception again because I'm moving from the subway to the L train, right? The
Yeah.
L tracks in Chicago.
Yeah.
I'd say, I am so sorry for being late. You know what they said? Oh, it's fine. I don't care.
Really?
Well, because I called.
Because you called. Well,
That's communication.
Yeah, that is communication.
And
I would agree with you. Yes.
And I'm worried about it. And I'm giving them the respect that they think I'm scared, which I was.
Well, yeah, right?
I'm
Yeah,
coming
because
home.
you could lose your job again.
I get fired again.
Yeah, I was going to say yes.
But I know that my parents just they've given, so a kid can never say that their parents didn't give them anything.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
It is impossible. Yes.
It's impossible.
Yeah. Some people will say they earned it. I mean, it's all in the same. I don't. Yeah. No. I'm very blessed, and I think yours. We grew up in our family was very nice, and then there's other people that you know of that when they talk about their family, it's kind of sad. So, like, hey,
Yeah.
they had a rough childhood, and you're like, man, I'm not
Dang
a.
it.
Yeah, so
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, not me. I feel
Right.
say,
Yeah.
but I feel bad for them. But then they choose the path of, when it comes to parentinghood, how they going to treat their, how they going to treat that. So,
did you say that your daughter's 13?
yep, she is.
Okay. Does she get a car immediately when she turns 16?
That's what she thinks. That's what she thinks. So
That's what she thinks?
That's what she thinks. Yeah. Whew.
Hopefully she doesn't listen to this pod.
Oh, I hope she does. I was going to say, yeah. We're going to cross that bridge when that time comes, I guess. It's kind of like the cell phone. Just because it's a certain date doesn't mean you're going to get it there. So
Does she have a cell phone?
She does. Yes.
Wow.
I know. That's
You
what-
love her.
Well, you ever fought your wife? You know what I mean? So, yes. When I say
I've-
fought her, not like physically, you know what I mean?
I
So.
think it's the figurative. It's the figurative fighting. It's the argument or the discussion, the heated discussion, or maybe it's not just that. It's just like it's just mom and dad
Yep.
having to talk about it.
Yes, there you go. Yes.
I think I have lost most of those.
I
I think I've lost those. It's not my inability to debate my wife, because if I'm trying to debate her, I'll probably win on points, but
Yep.
I'll lose. Win the battle, lose
Yes.
the war.
Lose the war, yes.
So what happened? So did your wife be like, was she just like, yeah, she's getting a phone?
I think she just said it's time, and we're going to get her a phone. And I'm all like,
Was it a full-on
Oh.
smartphone or just a flip phone?
oh, no, you're going to go all the way. Oh, heck, then you got to get the iPad thing. I mean, let's not, woo, the kids got more electronics than I even do
Really?
myself. So, but yeah. But, it does help with some school working. I can self-convince myself all day long. It makes her happy. So the most irritating thing that I really think there should be a time limit put on it, in my personal opinion, because they can get on there, watch YouTube, or get on and just watch stupid videos. If it's educational, totally get that, but it's all like, hey, how's this girl doing her nails? And it's all like, why don't you read a book? Why don't you go outside? Why don't you go to a friend's house? Let's go skin a knee, kick a ball, But it's easier just to sit in your room, and I'm not saying that she does that, but all the time. It seems like anymore nobody
all the time
doesn't want to talk.
When you
go out do you ever feel like when you go out in public, people don't really want to talk? They just want to sit there, and you're waiting in line and for a restaurant or whatever. They get on their phone and they don't talk.
Are your kids allowed to be on their phones or on iPads at restaurants?
No, I don't like them to be. No, unless we're talking and we're going to play something dumb like, hey, what song was this made in? And I can't remember it. And then, but no, if we're there to eat.
If it's if it's like a familial interaction and there's like a Trivial Pursuit or something, I can kind of see that.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't allow any of that stuff.
No.
Just because dinner's dinner. We don't allow like toys at the dinner table or anything like that. But
good for you guys. Yeah, I'm the same way. So
you are?
Yeah. Oh heck yes. And no, that's another debacle we could fight, but or talk about it all day. But no, I think when it sits down and you sit at the table, you're there to talk.
Hey, you mentioned something about YouTube about the kids watching the stuff about how to do the nails.
Yes.
So this is something that my kids love more than anything. So you have a 13-year-old. Okay. So, but my oldest is 9. But to be honest, and I know that your 13-year-old is far more mature than my 9-year-old. Far be it. Mm-hmm. But there's something about YouTube, about all the videos of like watching somebody else do something, but it's not like a how-to of like, oh my gosh, it's like it'll be like here's how you make Play-Doh, but then here's how you play with the Play-Doh.
Yes.
And so, oh, hi, Mommy. Hi, Daddy. Or whatever. And then so it's all about, my kid's not going to go make the Play-Doh.
No.
And it's not going to go role play.
Right.
They're going to sit there which by the way, it's not really allowed in my house. So very rarely does my wife and I slip. If we want to go in the kitchen and we really need the kids to be quiet for 40 minutes.
Yep.
Okay. We'll put something on. And like the mindless stuff.
Yes.
The mindless stuff is no longer allowed.
Gotcha.
Because we figured out that it's mindless.
Yeah, you're right. It's it's not going to take
but
you
they do
anywhere.
the role playing. The kids want to watch somebody else be creative.
Yes.
That's the best way I can describe it.
You're right. But is it easier for them? You're right. Is it easy for them that they don't have to think about it? That somebody's there doing it for them?
Someone's just doing it for them.
Yes. I mean.
And the other thing too is, so like sometimes my oldest will crowd around one person who has a flat screen, like an iPad.
Yeah.
It'll be like the mindless stuff. And then everybody will watch it together and they feel one with the one person who has the flat screen, and they'll all kind of jump in and hover and their mouths are open. They all turn into mouth breathers.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And they're just like, you can't even get their attention.
Yeah.
Say, hey. And they're locked into the trance.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
It's super weird. It's like Zombieland.
It is. It's its own thing. And you get sucked into it, and it's hours and hours, and I totally get it. I've done it myself, so.
What happens if one of your kids wants to start working on cars? Are you going to try to stop them? Or are you going to encourage it?
As long as they're going to do something, I'm with them 100%. I feel that there's easier ways to do things in life? Probably. I don't know, but I'd encourage it for sure. Yeah. My son, he just graduated from welding. Works at a factory. He's also in the military. I mean, at 20 years old, he's done more than I probably did when I was 20. I was still in college. So
he's welding?
Yeah, he's welding, full-time
Okay.
welder.
Wow.
Yeah. In the Army Reserves. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, like, where do you find the time to have fun or anything like that? So.
Well, I just found your welder.
Oh, yeah, right. No, he is. No, you're right. That's what I mean. Hey, you have somebody do it for me. Yes.
Like, hey,
so yeah,
I got this car.
And when he,
hey son, will you just weld one little thing?
Well, it's so amazing because when he was younger, and I'd ask him to help hold something, and boy, it's like holding a flashlight for your dad. You're gonna blind him. You're gonna do everything you can, but not hold the flashlight where it wants him to be. And a couple of weeks ago, he was down at the shop, and he was welding a thing for one of my coworkers, and this guy could lay a bead of weld. I'm so proud of him. Like, as a parent, you know, when your son, you're like, wow, they made that first goal, you know, like you just brought it home. You know, that was the moment, like, oh my goodness, like, this is where you're supposed to be. You know, I'm glad you chose the life that you did. You know, there was days that you hated me and I hated you, but we're here now, and look what you did, and high five it. You know what I mean? I'm not a hugger, so, but yeah, that's so proud. You know, at all the times when I come back here and say, hey, you know, when we talked about some childhood, I think it's okay to tell your child no. You know, it's not going to happen. Like, I am mad at you. You know, that's why you are sitting. All them little times that I had them little butts to heads, and then I saw that it cleared it. So
amazing.
New chapter in life. So
Love that. Remember in the green room when I said when it's over and we stop the time, you're like, oh, we're done.
Oh, we're over. That's it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hey, thank you so much.
No, I
for coming
appreciate
in.
it. Hopefully,
And,
I didn't bore everybody.
No.
I had a great time.
Please.
So
no, I've got to get some. I'm not going to try to see how far I can go without an oil change.
please don't.
I'm just gonna do it.
I wish all the photos. I just need to show like why you. There's their owner's manual for a reason. Them people, engineers, they made this for a reason. It's not just something out there. So yeah, follow it, please. Yes.
Read your owner's manual.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.